What's up, family? It's Caden here with Urban Finance. I am here with my brother Malik Champlain, father, author, chief empowerment officer of Passion, Hunger, Drive. I'm excited for this interview today. We're going to be talking about the secret to massive success. Malik, can you tell the folks a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I could definitely do that. My name is Malik Champlain, and often I don't get my credit for being the spoken word artist. So I like to say that I'm the unspoken words of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. I represent the brother that rocks chains and those that write checks. So, with that being stated, I really appreciate you, brother, for your introduction. But outside that, man, I'm really just I'm the father of three. I was a girl dad till I recently had my son, and I know you know how that be.
Yeah, yeah.
I am the husband to my beautiful bride, Rosalind.
Mm,
Man, I'm a God fearing man. I am somebody who took the hands that were dealt, and I came out lovely. I would say,
mm,
back against the wall, and I had to learn to knuckle up. So
mm,
with that, it's really, I know we're talking about success, but what comes before success is the struggle, is the mountain
mm,
you have to climb, is
mm,
um, the battle wounds that you came out of it with. And I just was, I think I'm just relentless, you know,
mm,
and with that has come some success in life, but at the same time, right, your perspective drives performance.
mm.
So I always got that dog, right? I'm always climbing that next hill. Like I'm not, I'm in love with the journey. I'm in love with the process. Like I'm always reinventing and building. So like I'm just somebody who's just hungry.
Awesome, man. Thank you. Thank you. And I just want to say a quick shout out to all of those in the comment section right now. Shout out to my girl Vern, my one of the queens out there on YouTube. Shout out to Thunder. Appreciate your support. As you guys know, go ahead and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. If you're in the comment section, just let us know, say what's up, throw the hands up or something. Let us know you're in the building. And if you have any questions at all for Malik throughout this interview, throughout this conversation, let us know, and I'll be sure to ask him those questions. And Malik, so let's just jump right into it. So, what are some of the misconceptions that people typically have about what
Mm.
it takes to become successful?
Um, First I would say just off the bat that success can only be achieved alone. Right?
Mm,
So when I think about misconceptions or myth about being successful, that you have to be self-made, right? This idea
mm,
that you got to build yourself up your bootstraps. This a meritocracy that we have with
mm,
just doing it yourself, and that's not how things are built, right?
mm,
But we idolize those people at the top, but we forget, right? Bill Gates had a team,
mm,
right? Elon has a team, right?
mm,
Jay-Z, right? My man Ho, he has a team, right?
mm,
We look at these juggernauts and these titans and we forget about the team, and it's so
mm,
important that we know that, right? Another misconception that I would say as well is that success requires luck.
mm,
And the reason why I say that is because I'm a firm believer, right? That I don't have luck, but if I do, I gain it from working hard, right? That
mm,
I take luck as when hard work meets opportunity.
mm,
So I'm on this street working hard, and I'm eventually I'm across that opportunity street. And the more that I'm out here doing what it is that I love, doing what it is that I do, uh, that I'm gonna be successful. In essence, I'm gonna have more luck. And I think that's also another misconception. Um,
mm,
I think also what's interesting is I had just said this, but you don't have to do what you love. I'm gonna keep
mm.
it right. I'm big, like my organization drive, and I want you to have that, right?
Mm.
But sometimes you can just be in love with the outcome, but how you get there, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
don't
yeah.
have to. You don't have to be in love with the vehicle,
Mm,
right? So the idea is that you might be in love with the mindset. My family needs generational wealth.
mm, mm,
So when I started a trucking company, I
mhm,
don't drive trucks, I don't do any of those things. But when I started a trucking company, it's because I understood the market, right?
Yeah.
You're in a $900 billion market, right? Like you're talking big boy money. I need a piece of that.
Yeah.
Right? And my family needs that. Right? When you talk about real estate, you talk about being a landlord and owning property. You might not love that, but
Yeah.
you love the process, the results of that.
Yeah, no, that is so important. And I feel like what I'm about to say, I speak on this on my channel a lot. And it talks about my mindset for my son. And so even before I had my son, I was in preparation mode financially to bring him into this world, right? And so I worked hard to prepare a way for my son. Not everything that I did, I may have necessarily loved doing, but I love the idea of making sure that life for my son will be easier than myself. And I think we are fed this type of myth out there that everything that you do, you'll naturally love, or everyone will be able or should do something they love. Don't get me wrong. I am passionate about what I currently do. But, if my situation was to change, I would do whatever it takes to provide for my family, and so, that begs another question. What does success really looks like for you personally? What does success look like?
So I would say, adding to what you were saying, I got this about the mud. So when you come from a certain environment, you don't have some of those luxuries, right? So for me, really, at one point in time, it's really about your mindset. So at one point in time, I remember hitting 21 was, right, that was success. Getting graduating from high school was success. But as I started to accomplish things, what I started to understand for me, it was different. I didn't get there and then was like, oh, I'm happy, I'm complacent.
Yeah.
It was like, yo, wait, hold up. That feels like the entree. I'm hungry, right? So it's passion, hunger, drive, right? So I was starving. So then it was like, oh, if that's possible, because I didn't think me getting into college was possible. Then I was like, oh, boom. Then it just was any lane I was in and I saw success. I just was like, if I can get this success and I can get the next step and I can get the next step. And then I want it all, right? Like I want it all. So for me, success really looks like the idea of not being great. I don't have to be great at something, but I have to consistently be good. Right? Success isn't so much of perfection as it is perseverance and persistence towards a goal, consistently going after what it is that you want.
I like that.
And I think success for me as well is taking the hard road when I could take the easy one. So
what you mean there?
So on your road to success, you're going to want to settle, you're going to want to give up, and you're going to have to sacrifice for what you want. So when I told my wife, well, we're gonna get into real estate and we're gonna buy some more properties, and the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna start house hacking. So we're gonna go from our single family home and we're gonna go to a 2-family.
Yeah.
And we're gonna rent out this house, we're gonna add another tenant, and we're gonna live on the other side. She's like, boy, you crazy. But the money I was able to save up, right? 3 years later, we got another place.
Yeah.
Now we got another place, right? So now we're snowballing the real estate. Then you go to the idea of now we have other liquid assets to go ahead and get and start other businesses. And that's where we started, right? With that mindset, but it took that sacrifice, right? You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable, and that was so important in the move for success.
No, man, what you're saying is so real, and I guess a lot of people, or especially in our community, a lot of people in our community don't even know what success look like, what is success, and how to even begin to get there. And so sometimes, I posted on my Facebook post page recently, LeVar Ball. He was talking about, in the Black community, everybody wants to be a lot of times numero uno, right? Number one, Michael Jordan, number one, Kobe Bryant, number one of his time, LeBron James, you name those successful people, even Kanye West, Jay-Z, the best rapper. And when we look at sometimes the people who have the real wealth, the real billionaires out there, like the Walmart family, like Mark Cuban and his family, people who are doing it big, it's not necessarily the people that are doing it by themselves. It's the people that have a family, a community around them that is lifting them up to untold level of success. And so
Right.
I feel like, we have sometimes the mentality of, to be successful, I have to be either number one, or to be successful, I have to make sure I crush the competition. When truly those people that are truly successful out there are those that are able to build with a family, or sometimes I say, your friends that can be your chosen family at times, but those people that is ride or die for a vision. And LeVar Point was is that in our community we don't have that vision of what success looks like. And and so people may not, for example, like you were saying, if you never own multiple homes, you don't know what that looks like, you don't know what that feels like, you don't know what that can do until someone has a vision to implement that. And so my question is, I guess, what gave you the perspective in order to say, this is what I want to do to build generational wealth for my family?
Right. So in one narrative, right, I saw that clip from LeVar Ball, and I see what he's saying, right? Because I'm in a black book club, and it's called Revolution of the Mind. So Revolution of the Mind. My man Demetrius, and we read Dr. Claude Anderson Powernomics,
Hmm.
and inside of there he talks about this idea of, for us to stop as black people, right, being so individualized, and where that came from. First off, right, because it didn't just happen because we're actually collective people, right? We usually move in tribes and we move in villages, right? We move as a unit.
Hmm.
The word is Ubuntu. I am because we are because I am. So it's really going back to our roots, because we have such rich history, and stop trying to be something that we're not, right?
Hmm.
And going back to, like, hey, let's not always have to compete against each other. How can we collaborate?
Hmm.
Like for me and you, like, I'm not your competition, I'm your resource, King,
Hmm. Hmm.
right?
I
And
like
so
that.
we have those conversations like that. So when I think about, like, that idea of how I came to the vision, is really, it's like I went back to remembering who we are. I went back to the roots. And sometimes we give this narrative that we've never did that, right? And that's not the
Hmm.
case. That we don't have successful images, but it's about, right, your personal knowledge that you seek about who we are and our rich history. And I
Hmm.
think for me, it was so important to go back to that and really understand. Look, that idea, as you talk about a vision, I really just look and I go back to my grandfather,
Hmm.
who 5 years TSA, third shift, never took a day off,
Hmm.
right? So his family could have. Um, and I think about how powerful that is, right? Of an example, so that those of us after him, right, his grandchildren, those of us after him, he could provide for. So for me, right, I think about this idea that I have to have that same imagery, like, in my mind. But as a man, right, we elevate from a boy to a man to a mentor, a mentor to a patriarch. And if
Hmm.
the aspect is to be that patriarch, I have to architect what this look like for my legacy. And
Nice. I
that's
love
where it
that.
started, like, starting with the end in mind.
That's beautiful. And just want to honor some of the questions. If you guys have any questions, let us know in the comment section. If you liking what my boy Malik is talking about, throw them hands up in the comment section. Nigel said, "Is cash flow important with your first rental property?" Can you speak on that a little?
Yeah, you always want to make sure you run the numbers right. It's always about the numbers. It's, you take the feelings out and you just run the numbers. So if the numbers, if you can rent it for 2% of what you bought it for, now mind you, it's between 1 and 2, but near 2 is where you like it at. And you can run the numbers to understand, paying off, right, your principal, insurance, taxes, interest, looking at your capital expenditures, and really just a basic, like, property analysis. You
Hmm.
look at that and you just run the numbers. And those are things that you can just Google, or to keep it funky with you, go on biggerpockets.com. I did it back in like 2011. right? And I've been a member since, and I joined my local CT RIA, right? Cost me like $150 for the year, and I just really like just dove into just teaching myself. And what you'll find out is the real money is in the equity, is in the buy. So I give you an example right now. I bought a property in Springfield, Massachusetts back in 2012. I bought it for $95,000. Recently, I just refinanced it for $200,000. Right? And I've had tenants in it. Right? I lived in it for 2 years. I have tenants in it since. So for the last 7 years, it's been getting paid down. Right? So now with that, right, the equity is where it's at. And then what you do is you take that money with the equity. We don't go ball out, right? I ball out with my regular money, right? We take that money, right, and we double up, right? We snowball that, right? We're gonna throw that right back into the next investment. And then you just gotta learn, right? And it's about having a team. Who's your CPA, right? Who's your financial advisor? I know you have my man Ant in here, Ant Smith. Yeah, that right. We talking right now. I'm talking with him right now about some stuff, right?
Yeah.
You gotta make sure you got the people in place who their job is to be a professional in that field. Your job is to know enough to make sure that they know how to do their job.
I like that. I like their job is to be a professional in that field. Your job is to know enough to make sure they're doing their job. And so Vern has the question, can you speak about the mindset of being successful and not being scared to win?
Yeah, I come from a sports background. I played college basketball. So for me, I always took that with me. I was somebody as well. Like so when I say that, I mean like sports teaches you like that you don't always win, that you take L's, but you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Right? So you got to go after it. So I've been lucky enough to lose in big games, but also been lucky enough to win a couple championships. Right? So I know the taste of victory. So what that gives me is that the question I ask myself, because usually it's about a belief system for me, right? So one of the questions I ask myself is really, do I want the dream or do I want the memory? Right? And I want the memory. Most people want the dream. They live in the dream. They live in the dream world. They live in the metaverse. That's enough. I don't want that. I want to taste that state. I want to fly first class. I want to see that. I want to see that island. I'm going there. I'm doing that. Right? Because the one thing I can guarantee you is this, right? I can guarantee you this. It's very hard, if not impossible, to stop somebody who won't quit. The question is, when push comes to shove, do you want it easy or do you want it great? Right? And it just comes down to action.
Yeah.
Now, when you get that imposter syndrome, that's where the question really coming from. And I battle with that, right? But that imposter syndrome comes, and what happens is I put that little boy to bed, right? And I just look Mike Tyson in the eye. I look whatever I'm fearing in the eye, right? And eventually you gotta go toe to toe, and your dreams have to be bigger than your fears. And what moves me, what pumps me up to face my fear, right, is a lady that sleeps next to me. Right?
I hear you, King.
Right?
I hear you.
Babies upstairs, right? Right? Because fears don't put milk in the fridge. Right? It don't pay for college. Right? So look, I didn't have a father like that growing up, right? I had my step pops who was there, but like daddy's home. I'm here.
Yeah. You preaching on here, my brother. You know, and I was on Vern's channel. She did a live earlier today, and one of the things she was talking about, you know, manifesting whatever lifestyle you want, whatever your dreams are, whatever your goals are, not even just for yourself, but for your entire team, for the community of people around you. And I love something that she says, you know, she didn't say she's going to be a millionaire. She says she's going to be a billionaire, you know, and I just love that type of spirit, because sometimes people are scared to put things out there in the world that they feel other people will ridicule them for if they don't accomplish it. I remember a few years ago, I said I was going to save $100,000 on my YouTube channel in 1 year. And someone, you know, hit me up and they said, "Oh, you shouldn't let people know that. You should tell them after you saved the 100,000 that you did it." And I was like, "Nah, I'm gonna let them know that because I'm putting that out there for them, for myself, because I know how my God works." You know, and so some people have this mentality like you can't necessarily say your goals, say what you're gonna do, because then if you don't accomplish it, then what will other people think, you know? And for me, it's like, it's my goals. I own my goals, And so if I set my mind to something, best believe I'm gonna do it. And and so that's why I started my millionaire journey on my channel and things like that. But you can't be scared to believe that you're gonna be who you know God has created you to be. Because at that point you're doubting not just yourself, but your creator.
To add to that, King, the reason why I don't give people that type of energy is because they don't get that from me. They don't get real estate in my mind. Right. And the other thing is, when you're in first place, what you don't do is you don't look behind you. Right. Because and that's why we here, right? That's why my background look like this. Everybody wants, I can bring you upstairs and show you the nice kitchen and everything like that. But what I'm bringing you to right now is, right, everybody want to talk about success, but nobody wants to start in the basement. Right. This is where the dream started. This is where, when I was in the basement and it was dark and dusty and nobody else was here, no one saw the vision in the dream, when it was 2010 and I was sleeping in a 98 Maxima with everything I owned, right? Nobody saw it. It was me and God, right? So I'm gonna care more about how God feel about me than I do how people. And none of them people were there, right? When my back was against the wall, but I figured it out, right? So with that energy, right, I go back when I have that imposter, or when I'm questioning whether or not I'm doing something, I go back to that cookie jar, right? Like my man David Goggins would say, and I remind myself I'm him, right? Not because of anything else besides the work that I've done to overcome the obstacles that have been in front of me, right? And I think that's so important to what you were saying.
I like it. I like it. Thunder in the chat said your dreams have to be bigger than your fears. Mama Bird, it's good to see you out there. Blessings unto you all. Harpin asks, is there a way to discuss people that are on a really limited budget and aim for financial freedom if we can't gain much?
So I'll give you one thing. I got you. I'll give you one thing. One of the things that when I consult with people is, I had mentioned house hacking, right? So my first property that I bought, I went down, I wasn't making much money. I was making about $45,000. So I went down to the housing authority and I went to a 9-hour class and they paid for my down payment. Then the market at the time was a buyer's market. So I had the seller pay my closing costs. So I paid $2,100 for a home. That's all the money I came up with. When I went to buy my second property, I found out this property in Connecticut. And then I found out Connecticut had a program, right? So with that program, I had to go to some more classes about owning a multifamily. And then they paid for my closing and down payment. So I paid $1,800 to move into that property. So now with one property, right, you already can change a generation. You already can, right? Like with the equity that you can pay in that. From where a lot of us come from, right? My grandmother living in a rental home for 40 years, right? What I'm saying is that with two properties, I paid less than $4,000, right? And so when you think about that and think about like the path to being a millionaire, a lot of it's through real estate. But you think about that. And I look at it now, and I look at both the properties I have now. I have well over $250,000 on those two properties with the equity now.
Oh wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I and this is the type of information people need. I think I can't remember. It may have been Demetrius that I was speaking to. Yeah, it was Demetrius, and he was saying about success leave clues. And he actually said that as well when I interviewed him on the channel. And it's so true, because we really don't know what we don't know, right? We don't know what we don't know. And so just even owning a home in Boston, something that when I was 25, I didn't know, that if you refinance your home, not only that, as you own a home over time, you're building equity. I bought my house in 2019. We're in 2021. It has appreciated over $100,000 in equity. And so put that another way, if I was to sell my house, I can probably go rent at the price that I was renting at for 3 years, just based on the equity that I've developed, or more, maybe 5 years or something like that, right? Yeah. And that's just from owning the home. But on top of that, the reason why we moved every year when we were renting because the prices were going up, and we had a plan to, save for our home. So it was like the price go up, we don't like moving, but we're gonna move. But the thing is, in those 3 years, I refinanced my home, and I didn't refinance, to get a lower mortgage, which I did end up getting, and I'm investing the difference in the stock market. But I refinanced as one to eliminate my PMI, which is the primary mortgage insurance, and two to get a lower rate. And so now my mortgage, unlike when you're renting, you could actually decrease your mortgage every year if you wanted to, compared to when you're renting, it goes up every year. And so even something like that can allow a family to start building generational wealth to where, honestly, where if you were renting, you really can't.
So just to add something else, something I've been getting into, and this is one important thing I know you talk about making sure your credit's right, but something I've done recently is I started understanding the idea that I'm only one person and can only make so much money and cap that who I am. So you have to eventually start thinking about systems. And when systems, you also think about partnerships. Now there's a lot there because you have to get into good partnerships and things of that nature. But for an example, because I have good credit, I bought 2 vehicles in my business name, right? 0 down. Right, I bought a Tesla Model X. I bought an all black, red interior Corvette. Put it down in Atlanta with my partner, and we've been killing it down there with those 2 cars. Mind you, 0 down because the credit was right. Now, when you look at something, you might have an $800,000 car payment, but we're making somewhere between $1,800 to $2,200 in the slow season on each vehicle. Right. So in real estate, if you make $300 cash flow plus, you're doing pretty good on that door after you paid everything off. So what I'm saying to you is that's another way. But what I want you to think about is systems. So when I talk about having that trucking company, right? I don't drive a truck, but me and my partner me and my driver, we work out a situation. I don't dispatch trucks. Me and my dispatcher, right? We worked out a situation, right? We worked out the numbers because it's passive for me because all I do is run the numbers in the background because I could run an Excel sheet. I know profit loss, fam. Okay? and guess what? I don't have to balance it because I pay a couple $100 for my CPA to do that. It's about having a team and putting the people who are supposed to do what they do in place to make those moves for you. But the system is where you really gain back your time now. Because I'm a speaker too. So having to travel and do all that, right? You have to really figure out like that part of it. And even from a speaking aspect, I was able to really edify myself by looking at the competition and other speakers and really sitting there and studying what they're doing, why they get paid like that. But the gem I'll give you is when other speakers that I knew were getting $5,000, $10,000 to speak, I didn't sit there and hate on them. I was just like, okay, bet. Well, then the market for those $1,500, those $1,000 speeches, that's all me. That's all me. So I get so good at those, you don't have to pay me more.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that, King. Shout out to everyone in the comment section. Shout out to Smitty TV. But I post, I think that's Ant. Shout out to Brother Man in the comments. Always good to see you. Shout out to Debt Free Dad. Always good to see you fellas in the comments. Always good to see my queens in the comment section. If you guys have any question, thoughts, let us know. So I guess one other question that I had for you, who are some successful people that you really admire and why?
It's funny. I was thinking about this. I was thinking about this like a couple weeks ago, actually. It was a couple years ago when I wasn't making the same moves I'm making now. I would have a bigger list for you, right? I would say right now, I'm very big on self-education, so reading, podcasts, things of that nature. So the people from a success standpoint, I love seeing people. I love seeing the glow up. So like I've been an earner with Earn Your Leisure for a minute now, and to see their glow up, right? With DJ Khaled from like the old dusty wooden table a couple years ago, like I'm like okay, but like I would say for if I'm really thinking about it, and the reason I say that is because, when I got a mentality like I'm gonna stay down till I come up. So like
Mm,
sometimes it's hard seeing someone else's stat line when I'm too busy
mm,
putting my own buckets, bro. Like I'm not worried.
mm.
I'm not worried what he's doing. I'm too busy on the offense,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
I'm too busy eating. Like I'm too busy doing what I do, and I'm trying to be great in everything. Like I'm trying to be a great father, trying to be a great
Mhm,
husband, trying to be a great
mm,
Christian. I'm trying to be a great businessman, trying to be great at, I still right now I'm the racial equity and social justice educational consultant for the State Education Resource Center. Right, I'm helping implement the nation's first Black and Latino studies curriculum. Right, so I'm trying to be great
mm.
at everything, bro.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
so
yeah.
sometimes I don't have it, but when I really thought about it, I go, I love LeBron for what
Mhm,
he does. But at the end of the day, I'll always be more Kobe. I look like the
mm,
mom is me, right? That mentality that I'm not a great multitasker. That does
mhm,
not, it's like not like a thing. Like I section off time to focus
mhm,
on things, but I get one thing on my mind and I'm obsessed about it.
mm,
I'm obsessed. Like I get into that Mamba mentality where I just need to have it and I'm gonna do whatever it takes to have it. And what I know about the competition is they won't shut off the same things I would shut off, right? And they
mm,
we put it, right? You won't give up, you won't sacrifice what I'll sacrifice to have this. You won't sacrifice
mm,
net, right?
mm,
You won't sacrifice going to the bar with your homies. You won't sacrifice, you won't do it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll cancel it all for the goal
Mm,
because I got to execute. I
yeah.
don't have those excuses.
Nah, that's beautiful, man, and I love that you remind me of ET there. And at any time I break my mental concentration
Mm-hmm.
about going after my goal, I always start back watching ET because his videos really motivates me in terms of you can't outwork me, you're not gonna outwork me, and it reminds me like when I was. And we all have seasons. So I've always been a game freak. Like I love video games. Like I've always loved video games. I've been a homebody, so I would stay home
Mm-hmm.
and play video games. And when I was doing my master degree, I said I'm not gonna play any video games until I'm done with my master degree because that's a distraction. When I was done
Mm-hmm.
with my master degree, I got married. And my few first years of marriage, I said I can't play any video games because that's a distraction. And I've always went hard with whatever I do, including gaming.
Yeah.
And so as I was, and I started when I had my son, I started back playing video games like, for the first 3 months. And my wife was like, this ain't gonna work. And it's because like you kind of said, I'm not great at multitasking. Whatever I do, even if it's something silly, I want to be the best at it.
Yeah.
And right now, the things that are my priority is my family, making sure I'm
Mm-hmm.
able to provide for my family. And to do that, I can't, I don't have a game system in my house.
Mm-hmm.
And I know myself, I don't trust myself to have a game system in the house, to be frank about it,
Yeah.
because that
Yeah.
becomes a distraction. And
Yeah.
so, for me, it always goes back to what are you willing to sacrifice to get your goals? If you're not someone that's willing to sacrifice other things that you love to reach certain objectives,
Yeah.
whatever that thing is, you're
Mm-hmm.
probably not going to achieve massive success.
So
And
I
so,
think just to add something to that right there is be careful who you tell your dreams to, right?
mm,
Because when you tell them to small-minded people, or when you really look at the, I think it's funny. You said Demetria said success leaves clues. Well, people are creatures of habits, right? They leave
mm,
clues too on what they do and they don't do. So sometimes people are going to tell you working too hard, you doing too much,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Don't operate at, oh, I get it. And I had to get there to get it because I kept telling my dream to people. I kept telling, right? They kept
Mm,
seeing me working. They kept trying to tell me to make my light smaller. And then when I started
mm,
understanding, like I'm in rare air, right?
mm,
When you're a one percenter, right? Like you move different. And then I
mm,
start understanding when I do tell you my dream, and you like, yo, that's good. Now we in the right place. But when
mm.
you agree, then I'm like, okay, I'm dreaming too small. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's
yeah.
important to that. I think someone asked a question a little bit earlier about not having the support. And I'll tell you this: first, they'll ignore you, then they'll laugh at you, then they'll fight you, and then you'll win.
Mm.
Right? They're gonna ignore you, and you're gonna try whatever it is you're gonna want to do. Right? Family, friends, people you know. Then you're not gonna be the best at it. They're gonna laugh at you, and they're gonna fight you, and then you win. Right? And what I learned is that real G's move in silence like lasagna. So I'm not even gonna tell you no more. I'm gonna pull up on you. Then now, when I pull up with the receipts, right? I know.
Yeah,
Just know when you see me, I got something cooking. Just know.
No, and that goes perfectly to Vern's question. So I'm gonna ask it right here. What do you think of people who do not support you at the start? And pretty much you're speaking on this, but when you are winning, be all in your pockets. I love she said be all in your pockets. But yeah.
For real. I love it. Like rejection is energy, right? Like it for me, it's just like I'm so focused on the goal. I guess that sports mentality, right? Like I'm the man in the arena. You a fan, bro. Right? We not on the same level. We don't speak, right? We in the same building, but we got different views. We walk in the same path, but we got different shoes. Right? We are not the same. Like I do this. I put in the work. Right? I'm a gladiator. I'm Zulu. I'm a warrior, bro. Like I go out here every day and I put that work in. I go into spaces. Like right now, I'm about to defend my proposal for my doctorate degree. Every space I'm in, I want in on whatever's excellent. Right? You have to operate like that. Like I don't care what room you in. Boardroom, classroom, operating room. I don't care what it is. You got to be you because you got to be unapologetically great. And when you understand that and you accept that, then you accept everybody else who's mediocre because they wasn't willing to pay the price. Because you can feel it. Like when that struggle comes, you like, oh, this is where they quit. Yeah. This is the part of the hill they quit at.
No, I love that, man. And I always say, like I would tell, I'm an open person. There's really little I keep private, to my wife's chagrin as well, since I'm a preacher, I'll be up there on the pulpit telling our business and her business a lot of times too. But, I always say I never mind people who don't support me at the start and then start supporting me when they see my success, because quite frank, a lot of people don't have much vision. They can't think about things in the magnitude that I can think of it, And so I did a video about how to leave $100 million, for your family. And so a lot of people will see that and think it's clickbait. But when you start thinking in a certain way, not 5 years out, 10 years out, but 20 years out and 30 years out, about 40 years out and 50 years out, about your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, there's nothing you cannot do when you're thinking about life in that type of perspective. But a lot of people are so small-minded, they can only think, and unfortunately, and I don't want to get into historical traumas and things in this conversation, and so it's not to discount those type of things, but a lot of people, regardless to how, have become so small-minded, they can't think 50 years out. They can't think about their great-grandkids. And
some people need permission. Right? And I want you to know, if you listen to this right now, like I'm giving you permission. Permission to dream, the freedom dream, to dream outside these shackles they gave us. Right? I'm giving you that. And like I started thinking about it, what you talking about, what you trying to leave, at the end of the day, it's the blueprint, bro. So you don't understand. Like my kids, I'm leaving them a legacy. Yeah, I'm leaving them an inheritance, right, in their faith, but also leaving them a blueprint on how to get this done, because I'm showing them how I live. Right? When my daughter comes with me and we go see Miss Barbara, who I still got to go to her house to collect the rent because she wants to sit down and talk to me. Right? But what I'm saying is, well, why do people live in this house? This is our old house. We provide income for people. We provide housing for people. This provides income for us. Let me show you what that looks like. Let me show you what we're going to have you doing. Let me give you the blueprint. Because see, we, a lot of times we want to give them the life insurance. We want to leave them some money in the account, right? But we don't want to give them. We want to give them grandma house, but don't give them the blueprint. That's why they sell it.
Mm.
But my thing is, my baby already know. Never sell. Never sell. I refi got $65,000 out. When you get the house, because I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna refi 2 or 3 more times before I give it to you. Then when I give it to you, you don't never sell. Refi it and have other people pay for that. You provide them a good house, right? Because I believe in compassionate capitalism, right? You provide them a good house, you do everything you need to because your father used to live a certain way and had him some slumlords. But what we do is, right? You understand the blueprint. We ain't selling. We're gonna pull the money out because guess what? That's tax free.
I love that. I love that, man. You know, and I feel like you're dropping so much clues for folks because that's true. A lot of people don't have the blueprint or don't know why they shouldn't sell grandma's house when grandma passed away. And sometimes, you know, even myself, we can be hard on those people because it leads to the destruction of our community a lot of times. But they don't have the blueprint, you know, for those. So I really like that. So what have been some obstacles you've had to overcome in your life to get where you are at today?
Something I was thinking about with that is there was a process where I had to say I was a point in time in my life about 24, 25 where I called it I had to find me, I had to find God, and I had to find her. So I had met my wife, and my wife was like independent, doing her thing, good job, living in this dope apartment like in Hartford at the Towers, like she doing her thing. And for whatever reason, she was feeling your boy, and I was struggling. And it was a situation where I could have like moved in and try to like figure it out. She got good credit. She got a nice car. I'm trying to figure it out. And I was like, nah, B, like I'm gonna move. And I moved to Boston, actually. I was living out in Somerville. And when I talk about that time where I was sleeping in my car, what happened was during that time, like I found a job. I eventually got I was sharing a room at a house. Got my own spot. Then I got me a better job. Then I got on my 2 feet, really. I got my life together. But during that time, she kept coming to visit me. And the reason why I bring it up is because I had to go find me. And then I was ready to move, and I moved closer to her. And then we figured it out. But when I moved close to her, she's like, look, if we're going to be together, you got to start going to church, bro. For real. And through that, see, I knew church through grandma, right? But then I kind of lost my way. And then when I went back, what happened was, and it was one of the best decisions that I made from a faith standpoint, but you forget so much how the church teach you about money. One of the first things that they did, they put me through Financial Peace University with Dave Ramsey.
Nice.
And I restructured my debt. And I started snowballing, which I still do today. And I started doing a zero-sum budget, where I still do today. And then one of the best books I read after that was Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I would say like having a partner who's on the same page, right? Who you're equally yoked with, and how important that is. That makes you better. That's added value. Has made all of it better because she helps amplify my decisions, right? And gives me that perspective that I don't have. But also, she's a wind beneath my wings when I'm struggling, when we take those L's.
Come on, poet. Come on, poet.
It's keeping it funky, right? I when I was working a job one time back in 16, I got laid off. And I remember thinking to myself, and I pride myself as a man on providing. Like, how am I tell my wife, like I ain't got no job? And I remember I came home and I was like struggling to tell her, and she just like ain't even stopped cooking dinner. Like, oh, we good. We good. I believe in you. Like, what? You believe in what? Bruh. You talk about the battery in your back.
Yeah.
Right? Your boy was like, I never looked back. Right? And actually it really freed me. And I think that like that was something that was powerful. But I would say this as well. I've only paid 10 months worth of rent in my whole life. You think about you look at your budget and how much you pay in living expenses. Right? Like I've only done that once. And besides that, I've always lived, like I was house hacking, and like then I eventually bought a brand new spot here, because wifey was done with it. But just like what I'm saying is, right, that sacrifice, that living like nobody else so I can live like nobody else, that telling my money where to go, that like I'm a 2016 Bitcoin guy. Being in the right spaces. I got two friends that are millionaires, and they became my friends because they were millionaires at first, right? And we had some commonalities, but I was like, yo, can I take y'all out to eat? They millionaires, and I take them out to eat. So when that $400 bill come, and I coughed that up when I was still wasn't making money like that, they gave me those clues.
Yeah.
Right? They gave me those, like, that mindset, and it was worth more than that bill I was getting every quarter when I took them out to eat.
No, that's awesome, man. And shout out to all the queens out there. Shout out to my wife, because, you know, she's a keeper, man. She I can't even talk about it before I start breaking down and tearing up on here. But she's watching. She's watching putting our little guy to sleep right now, and so I really can't even do what I do without her. It wouldn't really even be possible. And so, it's just beautiful. I feel like every brother that I brought on this channel to chat talk about how amazing their queen is. And it's beautiful to see, a black men and black woman holding each other down in a way that, all my brothers. Look, I've said this probably on just about every, I'll say, live conversation that I've had with one of my brothers. And even with my sisters as well. I love what I'm seeing that my brothers are doing in terms of taking care of the home, taking care of their family, whether their children live with them or not, and just being present with their wives, and so I've just been loving it, across my social media. Maybe it's just my circle, but I feel like every guy is present in their son's life, and stuff like that just makes me feel like the world is heading in a better place, especially for our community. And so I got a question. So what's one thing you would tell your 16-year-old self about navigating life? Like, if you were to speak to yourself at 16, what would you tell yourself?
They're never going to give you anything. You have to take it. That's what I would say. Right. I think I thought that if I did things the right way, right, if I followed this certain path, that I could reach a certain level of success. And there's some obstacles and some glass ceilings and things, and it's you'll remember by the rules you break. Right. I got that from Shoe Dog. Right. Like, don't ask permission. Will be great. Like, don't look back. And chase excellence. Like, and don't look back. Like, don't work. I spent so much time with that survivor's remorse, trying to still like take people with me, trying to feeling guilty for not being as a part of the neighborhood as I was before. But the word, right, Sankofa, right, like to leave and come back. So now when I come back and I sponsor the school, I sponsor the AAU team. When I come back and I bring like the guys from like Hot Sauce and N1 and we do events back home, or I come back and we put on for the city and we do stuff for the kids, right? Like that's how I give back, right? That's how I'm a real one. I don't gotta be running the streets to be one. So I think that just stay in your lane, chase greatness. They're not gonna give it to you. You're gonna have to take what's yours.
Man, I love that. I love that idea. They're never going to give it to you. And so I always tell people, I'm someone that, in the Revolutionary Mind Book Club, just love reading in general. I have another channel called Black Books Animated where I just do reviews of books that I've read. And so I know the history of Black people in this country and across the diaspora. I've read about the struggles of Black people. I know that throughout every step of the way that we have had someone's foot on our neck. And still, I always say, I will never tell my son, I will never tell my son that he cannot become all that he desires to be. You know, I will never allow him to have any type of defeatist attitude that says somebody else can keep him down. Yeah, I might say in a broad context that there are systems in place that may try, but you as an individual are able to overcome and, like you put it, take it, because they're not going to give it to you. Even, and I'll say this, even if you were white, no one is going to hand you anything. It may be easier to achieve certain things, but no one is handing out paper. No one is handing out success. Regardless to who you are, you really have to take it. And to become successful as an individual, you have to have the knowledge, I would say, to know for yourself that you can be all that you want to be. Whether that's a billionaire like Vern, whether that's to be the biggest philanthropic person in your community, whatever success looks like for you. Because for me, I always say success for me has a lot to do with my ability to give. Like, that's what I'm passionate about, giving. How can I give back, both financially, spiritually, physically, mentally? You know, giving is what I believe God has called me to do. And so, you know, as you go up, like you say, you're able to give more, you know?
Yeah, I would, to add to that, speaking from like as a Christian, there were times where I thought that it was over, right? Like there were times where I was like, I felt defeated, to be honest. And the word for me, like the phrase for me was like, God is greater, right? So if I could give me that earlier, right? Like whatever it is, right? I don't have to get specific with this. Just know, right? Know, young king, God is greater. And you had asked me about success, and I was thinking about something when you were talking. Was that at the end of the day, success for me doesn't mean anything if I can't be me, right? All of me. If I can't be Malik, if I can't be as black as I want to be, right? If I can't be as beautiful as I want to be, if I can't be right as phenomenal as I want. I don't want it if I can't do that, right? And to add that is that don't like remind yourself, to your point, like that historical context of I am my ancestors' wildest dreams. Right. So with that, right, I take that into every room. So Maya Angelou says you might be one person, but you represent 10,000 people. I think about the 10,000 prayers, right? I think about the way my grandmama prayed over me, right? The way my mother prays over me, right? Like that idea that like
come on now, you're gonna make me start up running around.
Right. And I just think that with that, it's so important that we've gone too far to quit now and to turn on each other. So one shout out I want to give is to the Ashe Investment Group out of Hartford, Connecticut. It's a group that we started, the 7 members, 7 Black families, and we're coming together to buy some property in Hartford and in other urban areas and expand our market. And I think it's important that not only am I like I'm doing me, believe that, but at the same time, right, we got to work together as a unit, as a group, and we rise and lift together.
Love that, King. Love that, King. And so, you know, I'll have that be kind of like the final words. But so I guess, how can people connect with you, best support your work, what you're doing? I believe I saw Demetrius, you know, through in a chat earlier, a link to your book. You know, shout out to the Kings that's always, you know, holding us down. But how can people support you?
Yo, for real, Demetrius, that's my brother for sure. That's family. So you can reach out to me on my Instagram is where I get a lot of DMs for it's at King Malik _PhD, as well as my website, which is passionhungerdrive.com. So when you either way, you can get a hold of me, you can get in contact with me. And I'm somebody, look, I'm always trying to connect with my people, always want to build, always want to support. I make my money doing what I need to do, getting these people, providing enough value to get these people to pay me. The idea though is that we got to rise and lift together. So to do that, we gotta be okay with saying that we're not okay, right? First, and be humble enough to ask for help and to continue doing that, because God gave us two hands, right? One to receive and one to give. And the last thing is, I want to leave you with this one book. It was and I have wrote it down. It was The Go Giver. If I say there's a book, right, where I talk about belief system. We can get into a lot of technical things and a lot of other books, but The Go Giver for me, is an easy read. I read it in a day. I read it in a night, right? And then the second thing is The Go Giver, right? Goes against the idea you have to be a go getter. And when I talk about the one irrefutable law of success, you have to ask for less in payment, right, than what you give in value, right? Undersell and over deliver. So when I would come and speak, and people were like, yo, who's this dude? And I would see people shake their hands like, yeah, I'm speaking. And I get up there and I do what I do, right? Like with my God-given talent, and I get off the stage and now everybody's lining up to buy my book. It's because I undersell and over deliver, right? So whatever you do, give more than you're asking in price. So every time we do something, you give more. So Kate, I hope I'm giving more than I ask in price.
You absolutely giving more, because this is free, you know.
I know.
100% giving more. And you know what's funny, man? I love the Go Giver. When I was a recruitment manager, my boss, the CEO of the company, Amy Bush, shout out to her. She had all of her management team read the book, The Go Giver. And I absolutely fell in love with the book. I actually sent my cousins, because we have a cousins group chat, a review of the Go Giver book that I did on my channel today, like a few hours ago. And, you know, and so I was grabbing, because I was saying, Holy Spirit, you just know how to line things up. And God is so, because I think that book encapsulates how I desire to live my life, you know. And, you know, it's kind of over time already. My wife actually has an 8 p.m. meeting, so I have to wrap up and watch the baby. But really quickly, the first law of stratospheric success from the book of Go Giver is the law of value. Your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment. The second law of stratospheric success is the law of compensation. Your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. The third law of stratospheric success is the law of influence. Your influence is determined by how abundantly you put and place other people's interests first above your own. And the fourth law of stratospheric success is the law of authenticity. The most valuable gift you have to offer is yourself. And the fifth and final law is the law of receptivity. The key to effective giving is staying open to receiving. And so, you know, I love the fact that you mentioned that, because I absolutely love that book, and I live my life based on those principles. And so thank you for giving on here, you know, certainly more than you have received. But I already know how my God works, and I know he's going to bless you abundantly for it.
Oh, yeah. I just very, like, 2 seconds. I just want you to know it's not free, right? The best thing that you could ever do that can pay you back is invest in people. Reaching out, and this time together, right, was an investment. And thank you so much.
Awesome. So I'll be sure to, because I know Vern asked for your Instagram, so I'll put it in the description after I post the video, and I'll put your book, the link to your book and things like that in the description, so people can check out your book. I'll leave one final last comment. When we finish read your book, my wife and I, we often read books together. And so we read your book together. And when we finished reading your book, she was like, is he single? And I was like, girl, don't play with me now. And she was like, yeah, I got single friends that I was like, oh, okay, you better stop playing. And I know she was asking for her friends, but, you know, it was just funny that, you know, she thoroughly loved your book. as well. And I obviously told her, no, he's married. He's a happily married black man. But
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. Hopefully she's not watching at that point. All right, Malik, thank you so much. Thank you everyone that's in the comment section. I see some new faces. Shout out to Sharon. Thank you, Nigel. Thank you, Vern. Thank you, Demetrius, for joining us. I saw Anthony on. Mama Bird is on today. And so, thank you. Or I'll say Mama Bird or Kanita. Mama Bird is her Facebook name. And so thank you, everyone. Sandra Brooks out here in the comment section. Thank you guys for the love. Thank you guys for showing up in the comments. Thank you for watching. And I know this conversation is going to bless y'all and help y'all to achieve success, whatever that means for you. And like I always say, God bless you and continue.